Hey everybody. We're going to get started in just a moment. We're just going to invite some folks in, and I know it's been a minute for us, but it's time for us to connect, to share all of the juicy updates that we have for us here in this group. And I'm going to try to be succinct and, of course, make it worth your while for just being here and being a part of this community and all the good stuff that we do have moving and creating together, because you all are in this with me in so many different ways. And so I want to make sure that you have the information. Of course, there's some things that I want to go on and add before we even get started, because even though I'm going to be talking about updates for our community, there are also updates in terms of the new moon that we've had and all of the different things that we've had happening all around us. And so I want to make sure that, you as women, that especially being that we are women who are secular beings, that we are affected by these cycles and by these shifts, even if we don't know what they all mean at all times. It doesn't stop the cosmos and the universal law from being the universal law. It doesn't really need your understanding for it to be true. It doesn't need your belief in order for it to be active in your own life. And so I want to make sure that those of us who care to leverage the time, the energy, and that are ready to shift, that we shift together, and that we leverage the work that we are already doing, which many of you are doing some amazing work in your life, in your business and your hobbies and so on and so forth. And so I definitely want you to be a part of that. So basically, we're just inviting our sisters into the space to join in this discussion and all of that good stuff. So that's what I'm doing now, is just sending out those invitations right now and getting ready. You know that we have a new moon that's coming up on the 12th and the 13th, depending on your location. And, just to give some context of the shifts that we do have, this is really a good time in your personal life to deal with your personal life and to deal with your desires and the desires of your heart. Even if you feel like you've dealt with them extensively before, this is still a good time to go in deeper. In fact, you really almost don't have a choice, because if you experience the full moon, you may have experienced reoccurring memories and residue from things that you thought that you processed, but it was coming up because the full moon was in Capricorn, right? And this entire year, let me make sure I can see you because I can't see everybody. The full moon is in Capricorn. Hey, everybody that's joining. And that Capricorn is governed by Saturn. Saturn is the taskmaster, the disciplinarian. In other words, when you don't get lessons from anyone else, Saturn makes sure that you get them energetically from that particular energy, and it's in retrograde. So therefore, by Saturn being in retrograde, full moon governed by Capricorn, any old issues were coming up for healing, particularly around unfinished business that's out of order. You may have found, it could have been bills, it could have been anything that you thought was handled, whether it be internally or externally. So some people have been reporting, that they felt heavy or weepy or overwhelmed, or just like, just all different types of emotions that when you feel like something, and almost kind of like a side swipe if you aren't aware of it, if you did not prepare for it as well or were already doing your work. So every year we have these intense periods that are designed. So, the universe is always, when we say God is a God of second chances, the universe is always giving us these opportunities to go back in. This is why I love the scripture that where Nicodemus says, shall I re-enter into my mother's womb to be born again? Well, yes, this is that time period. This entire year. We're getting ready now. If you have been feeling this particular energy, don't worry, because we're getting ready to go into a Cancerian new moon. So, here I got to put the glasses back on to make sure that you have the overview of this Cancerian new moon, because Cancer energy is all about feeling. It's about the mother and how you have been mothered, how you want to be mothered, how you want to be nurtured. And so you will find too, your relationship with women, with sisterhood, with being seen, being heard, all of that stuff is going to be knocking at our door, because the Cancerian energy deals really with the unseen parts of ourselves. And so that is but the thing is, it's coming from an emotional comforting place if you allow it. In other words, the past, when we talk about the past and revisiting issues, it's not coming to hurt you or to haunt you or to say that you have had a setback. But sometimes in order to move forward, there's a call for us to shift and to go higher in terms of the way we have thought about it. Listen, even as long as I've been doing this work on myself and with others, there is always more. That is why even if you are indoctrinated even through Bible, Quran, or traditionalism, then there are codes and symbols. And so when you begin to free up one aspect of your consciousness, you make room for access to new levels, and those levels continue to grow. The important thing is, sometimes in order to grow, you have to let go of what you previously thought or was taught. In order to really shift, you literally have to get used to, okay, I learned this, now I need to let it go or apply it where it needs to be applied so that I can move forward. That is the energy that we're in. So there will be areas that will be brought to your attention about where there is a disconnect. Anywhere there's a disconnect, I keep on taking the glasses on. And then there are also called imprints. There are imprints that we get a chance to revisit. Some of the imprints are not imprints that have been made by you. And that's where resentment sometimes builds up, is because you're like, well, I didn't do this. This is not what I wanted. How did I attract this childhood? I was a child. I was a baby. And so those are all the right questions to be asking. This is, for those of you who are in the rites of passage process, this is absolutely such a right time for you to be in the rites of passage process. And so I'm going to do something very specific for you all in particular. But because when I tell you that soul retrieval is real, it really is a choice, right? And so this is a new moon that reminds us with a more of a compassionate heart, whereas Capricorn energy is straightforward about the business, not a whole lot of compassion in that way. The compassionate energy comes from, okay, good. Now you got your business in order. Now let me love on you. This is the order of events. Not only that, the new moon will be happening on an eclipse. And so if there's anything that you've been avoiding, any of it, it's time for you to face it. And to also to receive correction, receive direction, receive love, receive nurture. And some of us, the truth is, many of us who have been good girls and who have been so responsible in our lives, we don't really know how to receive, even though we say we want to. or we say we wish we could. I wish I didn't have to carry so much. I wish I could have some help. Well, this is what you need to watch for is themes in your life around motherhood, childhood, your femininity, anything regarding your house, where you live, how you live, anything that you've been felt vulnerable, any area of your life where you felt vulnerable, where your needs have not been met. Those are the areas where you want to give some attention to it. And when I say attention, not just attention in a very surface level way. Some of us are going to have to go deeper by choice. It's just that simple. Many of us are at an age where you probably are reevaluating. If I had known this, then I probably would do A, B, or C. My life would look different. And so it's never too late, right? Even if you have a whole lot of bills, if you have a whole lot of responsibilities, it's never too late. And don't be afraid to let your emotions flow and to let people know that you have these emotions. Although this is not the time to not be responsible for your emotions. They're yours. And just because you have emotion, just because you have a trigger, doesn't mean that other people are responsible for the trigger. And even if your buttons get pushed, sometimes it is such a residual memory of what it is that we have never received, unmet needs. Sometimes the residual energy is what creates the disconnect from being able to receive medicine. Medicine is not always, medicine doesn't always taste good. And you got to be careful of the medicines that tend to feel like they taste good, because when you have medicine, oftentimes that it's loaded with sugar, sometimes that's the worst. Hell, you can go drink antifreeze, because I hear that it tastes good, but it's not medicine. And so many of us have to really get past this thing where we need it to feel good in order to be able to receive the medicine. Sometimes it's not going to feel good, and it's time for some of us to grow up so that we can grow out. And honestly, be careful even in this social media age that you're not creating businesses and business models that are designed to feed your unmet needs, because it will show up in your work. Oh yeah, antifreeze will kill you. Good point. Antifreeze will kill you. And sometimes I'm gonna tell you, like when I have done very traditional indigenous medicine, it tastes horrible. It actually feels like it's going to kill you. Yes, I'm twisting my hair a little bit because I see I got a little fro on camera. I'm twisting my hair up a little bit for you. This is very important. The other thing that you want to do is open the door to the monsters in your closets. Because the only way that the monsters and the big bad wolf can exist is because you won't address it. You haven't claimed your own inner authority. And you will be surprised that oftentimes we terrorize ourselves with fear thoughts more than they are actually true. And so it's okay to go through a process of what if. I want to just give you a tool is to what if. What if ... and consider it, like literally let your spirit get into a space of what if. So I hope that that's helpful, because we've been in a very deep shift. Someone just commented that they had been an emotional wreck. And honestly, let me tell you something, especially you juicy butterflies, you got to remember this. Listen, just because you have emotions that do not feel good does not mean that something is always wrong. The body is so graceful and the spirit is so amazing that it can only carry so much. So there's times when you need to release, but it doesn't mean that something is wrong. Especially if you have had a lot of trauma in your life. If you've had a lot of trauma or a lot of performance, a lot of making sure that you don't get in trouble. So you make sure that you do things right. And you realize at a certain point, well, I did it right. I feel like I did it right. Why this? Why that? It's nothing necessarily wrong. It's just that it is time for you to get on the other side of the questions that you are asking. And it's okay. It's okay to feel. You know, as women, we've forgotten that it's okay to feel. And so I think that that's just important enough to drop that into that space. You will have relationships that may shift when you shift. This is a shifting period. There will be relationships of people you love and you are devoted to who will not shift. And that's okay too. Everybody has a right because people have their destiny. And you don't have to tie your destiny up with someone who says, you say, I want to shift. And so what happens if they don't shift and then and I don't care even if you're leading a congregation, if the congregation does not shift, if the audience does not shift with you and you try to stay in place, it will kill you. It will eat away and erode at your soul. There will be people in your household sometimes when it's time for you to grow and you say yes and they say no. What do you do? And so this is the time period where you have to get honest with yourself. Even your children sometimes will shift and you want to stay the same. Sometimes they bring the change, and be careful about not being able to hear from your children, because this is still the dynamic. It's not just you as the parental authority. If you start to see yourself more as a divine escort and not children being your property or your spouse being your property, then you give permission for people's God to actually show up for them and then honor what shows up for them. Because you're not, and so many of us have such a slave mentality that we want to possess everything. We want to possess our children. We want to possess our husband or partner. And some of us get off on being possessed. You know, I belong to him. I belong to her, or those children belong to me. But yeah, you may be responsible for the relationships that you're in, but you are not responsible for the choices that people make. You give them what it is that they need to navigate on earth, just like your mother or father gave you. And maybe some of you did not receive what you needed from your mother. Well, look at it more as a divine setup for you to become the seeker, to go out. Many of you are the one that you've been waiting for, but you don't want to be the one. Some of us still have a savior mentality. We're looking for someone to save us, because when you have a savior mentality, then you don't have to do the work. You wait on someone else to rise up to be the leader. And this is what's happening in all of our communities. We're waiting on somebody else to preach us to heaven. We're waiting on somebody else to be the one to shift, to talk to the drug dealers, the drug addicts, the prostitute, the people who have HIV statuses. We are waiting on someone to be the one to show up. And what I'm saying to you is not necessarily you having a microphone, you having a stage. Would you do the work if you didn't have a stage and a microphone? Would you talk to your neighbors? Would you say something to those little children on the train who are acting out of, because the reason why we don't do it is because we're not standing fully in our power. We don't see ourselves as the mothers of civilization, particularly melanin women. I'm specifically talking to you. You are the mothers of civilization, and when we do not walk in the authority of being the mother, then we have a childized relationship with everything. Y'all feel me? Okay. So this is the shift energy that we're in. I just, I got confirmation. I love it when the elders send me stuff. When I'm already studying and I'm already doing my work, and then they send stuff. So they send stuff to confirm that. There is also a shift happening in humanity. Humanity is going on a shift. Be careful of you who try to do everything for free, because there's a light shift and there's a dark shift that's happening in some of your information outlets. Be very, very mindful that just because you can Google it does not mean that the information is accurate. There are portals that are distorting some of the information as well. So, I guess I could stop there, but I just want to say, this is the time for those who have committed to evolve their consciousness, who are committed to evolve themselves, their families. Sometimes your evolution does not look like them agreeing. Your evolution looks like you moving forward from where you are, starting where you are. It does not mean that the people around you, though, even the word says that a prophet is without honor in its own home. Sometimes those family members that we cry about, they don't deserve another tear. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve another tear. If anything, you may want to cry to release yourself, but waiting to be accepted by certain people sometimes becomes a holding place for you, because now you're focused too small. God, I tell you, I could preach this word right here just from scripture. We are focused. Sometimes we're so focused on what's not there that we cannot open fully to what is. Woo, okay. So I keep trying to stop teaching and preaching because, I haven't been in here for about 2 weeks. And so, I'm full, and I came with a purpose and with a plan, and my team is actually holding me accountable to make this shift and this declaration. So let me go ahead and shift with the shift that is happening. I will be doing much more work. I have been taught. I'm going to be teaching much more. I'm the first one in many of the tribes to talk about this whole mother issue, and as well as even the feminine way of doing business. And so I'm going to be doing a lot more in detail around that. So what I want to share with you, let me see if I can get this, and if Dana is watching, let me know, Dana, if you're watching, or Dawn, I see you're there. Go ahead and if I get off track, help me out. So let's start with some of the updates. So I'm really excited that we're getting ready to start prepping for the show. And, I look forward to you coming along on this journey with me. And again, as I shift and answer the next call on my life, I pray that everyone else around me shifts. My motto is that everyone will eat. Mama gonna make sure that everybody gets fed. If you already are placing your position to have a seat at the table, there are a few things that we need to do. And so I'm gonna be honest with you, with this shift, I needed to take almost a week just to digest, because the mother in me did not want to share what I'm getting ready to share. I didn't want to shift. I do love you. When I say I love you and there's nothing you can do about it, I mean that. And so I started coming into this space. First of all, the Rebirth Sunday, formerly known as Super Soul Star Sunday, was born out of it was born out of a time in my life where it felt like a desert. And I had to look at some places in me that needed to be hydrated. And when I looked at the places that needed to be hydrated in me, Spirit said, I already gave you the rivers of waters. So it's time for you to release them. And you need to teach. See, when I was ordained, I received instructions, direct instructions. Very different from sometimes in traditional ministry. Some ministries prepare you with the fivefold gifts and tell you, the fivefold gifts. Well, I received very specific instructions. And so sometimes, and this will be a nugget for someone. Basically, Spirit directed me to serve. So the Rebirth Sunday is my way, my give back. Well, as we have been evaluating everything, this Wednesday has to shift. The Wednesday teaching basis, the supplementals that we do here has to shift. It won't shift drastically except for location. If each one of you can subscribe right above, we will be moving Wednesdays. Why? Let me tell you why. There's two things that are going to happen. The way that you're updated, it will be much easier. This is the why. It will be much easier, and also it's time for me to centralize basically how you're able to connect with all of the flows of information. I've been flowing, but it's time now for the rivers of water to begin to connect to create the ocean. Y'all like that? That's Yimiya language. Shout out to my mama. And so, in other words, I won't just be coming in here on Wednesday. So this will be moving to a more of a podcast format. And I need for you to subscribe if you want to be connected, because the system for YouTube actually allows for the alerts to come. But I will be adding one more way for you to get alerted. You all know that I have deposited so much in this space. And most of you, if you're new, welcome first of all, but most of the information can be found on YouTube, and you can look at some of the old things there. So it's going to be so juicy. It literally is going to be a whole spot for hundreds and hundreds of teachings that have been sitting, and some of you didn't know how to access them because everybody is not like me, and I'm a seeker. I look for things. When I go into and I connect as a member of any group, I look around. I look for it, but some people don't look. You're just in, and a lot of people dance. They go to the dance, but they stay on the sideline. I go to the dance to dance. I like to go to the dance and get on the dance floor. I don't care who's dancing. I don't wait to be asked to the dance floor. If the music is playing, that is my invitation. So if the music is playing, that's my invitation to dance. Just drop a beat, right? So that's number one. So Dawn, help me. Okay, so Wednesdays are going to change. You still will receive a podcast, and when you will receive the alert when you subscribe above. Okay. The other thing is, before the announcement of Iyanla Fix My Life, I had been talking about doing a 3-day session around the sexuality part. Well, that also is going to have to change as well. Those of you who were already subscribed to my monthly membership portal, you will receive some other supplemental materials very similar in that area. However, I have manually canceled all of those memberships. Everybody's saying hey to you, Dana. So all of those memberships have been manually canceled. What that leaves is those of you who are in She Magic, in the She Magic portal. The She Magic portal will remain for those who are actively participating in the goal savings program. You hear me? For those of you who are in the goal savings program, that space will deliberately shift for those who are there. And that will be it will be information based on money. All of our, love, sex, and money, right? So that's where I will be nurturing that group. You will not be receiving, because that library is rich already. And so there's enough. Many of us are in information overload. And so we will be nurturing there in that space. Okay, so that's the second point. Some of you didn't even know that these points of entries even existed. Then there will be Sunday. Sunday will remain. However, some of you don't know this, but I am guilty of overgiving. Okay? So some of you don't know what it takes to put up. And I can bring Dana on if you're in a position where you want to come on, Dana, feel free. Just send me the invite. I'll bring you on. Dana helps keep me on track. And so Sundays, you will not see an invite on Facebook. We've also kept a private thread reminding you every week. Mama shifting. It's time for everybody else to shift. You get an email reminder in your email. There's no need for me to hold your hand any longer there. I'm telling you, this is not easy. It's not easy. So those of you who have children who are going off to college, who have graduated, I'm graduating the OGs of this group. It's time for you to show up differently as well. And so if you want to be in the space, save the number, because you have the number to call in on Sundays. Make it a part of your regimen. And that's going to get juicier as well. I would like to have, and I will be having many more guests to come in to minister into that space. You want to be a part of these designated spaces that I'm creating so that we can grow, we can shift. And also the last point of connection, which I have not been doing. Many of you don't know this, but if you're not on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Rebirth by LT. But I wake up every morning, y'all, and when I continue to teach. Instagram has been like my miniature blog, my microblog. And so there's a lot of manna on Instagram. Some of that will be pulled down on Instagram. Go there now, subscribe or whatever. But I'm not taking it away to just subtract it. It will be shared with those who are on the newsletter subscription. If you have not subscribed, I will be providing a way for you to get all of that. You can go to, what's the best place to go? I'll add the link for the newsletter up here. Right now, the most important one is YouTube, the YouTube link and the newsletter link. I will have a third way for you to receive alerts very soon. So I think that is it. Did I leave anything off, Dana or Dawn? Oh, yes, I left a big thing off. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. This is the exciting thing. And mind you, those of you who are in Good Girls Gone Goddess, oftentimes you're going to receive information maybe second, but most of the time, if it's for the public, you're going to receive it here. But those who are now inside of the alumna group, if you're an alumna and you have not been active in the Juicy Spirit portal, we're about to shore up that there. It's very important for me to finish this year with those who are committed to being juicy and living juicy and being in this sorority that we have created. It's important for me to nurture you to get ready for the 2019 shift as well. Okay, that's enough there. But the big thing that's happening, I need for everybody to save the date. Save the date. You hear me? Save the date. You ready? Save the date. I think I want to put on some special stuff for the save the date. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, there we go. Yee! Save the date. Oh, look, it makes my eyes look really crazy. Okay. Y'all like that little glitter thing? So it doesn't mean that I won't be coming in here, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. I'll be coming in, but it will not just be every Wednesday. But here's the save the date. We are planning a special celebration for October, the Columbus Day weekend. The date is going to be October 4th or 5th, where we would like for our tribe to get together in person and have, oh my God, we are planning such an amazing celebration. And I would like for those of you who are connected to your sisters to be there. Save the date. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Okay, I'm looking. So that is a big deal. We're long overdue. And I will be launching some other things that I'm going to share with you more in the coming weeks. So any questions about what I have said? Yes, I'm playing with this video here. Any questions? I think I did everything. The save the date. Basically, we're going to have a whole rebirth extravaganza that particular week. So ideally, we'll have a celebration. We'll go into the consecration weekend because we have a mighty group of juicy butterflies, rites of passage butterflies who will become juicy butterflies this particular weekend. It will be an awesome opportunity. And then we have some, and there'll be announcements that will be made there. You don't want to miss this event, this opportunity for us to get together. If you are in ATL or near ATL, I also plan to have another Welcome to the A event in Atlanta, which will probably be a brunch or during the brunch time. So that will be, I believe, like August for many of you. I definitely have some freebies that I'm going to be giving away, and I want you to be the first to receive it. So, do any of you have any questions for what you've heard? All right. The celebration is going to be in DC, Maryland area. DC, Maryland area. So it will be a reunion for many listen, we have done 8 rounds. When I told my mentor that we have done 8 rounds of the rites of passage, and when she found out that I had not done public celebration, that I had not been putting it out there because I have held it so intimate, and been so protective, she's like, it's now time for the world. So we are rebirthing 360 degrees of everything in my life. You know, you all don't know, but I have manifested such a beautiful home that I'm so grateful for. In addition to that, there's the manifestation list goes on. I know that you just can't make this stuff up. And every time I think I'm doing something in my own strength, and every time I surrender a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, I just can't, you know, you know how they say in the old church, you just can't beat God given no matter how you try. this stuff that I know that I'm teaching works, and what I have shared. And I'm going to tell y'all, I have been sharing so privately with so many people. Let me tell y'all something about hiding. Can I close on this real quick? I have talked about the benefits of showing up, using your voice, telling your story, asking questions, engaging. I've been sharing this for so many years, but let me tell you something else about hiding. When you hide, and I'm not even talking about the deliberate hiding now, I'm talking about the unconscious hiding that happens. And it's not until you get in the company of people who are playing full out, who are called, they'll call you out and call you forward. When you're hiding, you put yourself in position oftentimes for someone to pirate your gift, pirate your information. Let me tell you what I mean by that. In my personal circle, I have been sharing sometimes so many resources, so much information. Then somebody will go and build a program off of personal conversations that I had. And I'm like, you got that from me. But when you're not showing up, then it's easy for whoever is the one that's putting it out there to be the one to stamp it as though it's theirs. It's the same way with your lovers. If you're not making love to the person you say that you love, and then when the person that you say that you love it starts to want to get a little frisky, and then you mad because they went and shared their love making gift out there in the streets. Well, then guess what? It's time for you to just like me, to make love to the thing that you say is your thing that you love. And so when you show up, when you start playing, when you start doing because I don't care who is doing it. I don't care who is already in the marketplace. It's not what you have to do. I don't care who's already making jewelry. I don't care who's already written a book. I don't care what it is. When it's for you to do it, then can't nobody do it to it the way you can. And so this thing with good girls hiding, and I don't want anybody to know my business. Sometimes the thing that you call your business, everybody already is talking about it anyway, because many of us are loose with our tongue. We're loose with how we're sharing information. We want to be seen over here, over there. You're focusing too small. It's time to look higher, time to expand outward. What legacy do you want to leave? And if you die today or tomorrow, is your legacy intact? And I'm not just talking about something for somebody else to validate you. I'm talking about where the people that you love can come in to your space and say, I'm going to do something different because she lived. Because she lived, not because she died, not because she cried, not because she was tried, but because she lived. I'm better. I can do something different because she lived. So what about you? How are you living? Because if it's not in order the way that you want it to be, that's up to you. You can shift it. And listen, I love my girl, Veronica Very, because she gets me. She understands that when people talking about, oh, you picking up and moving, you picking up and, yes, I'm answering the call. I'm answering the call. You're not called just one time. There's many calls within the call, but you got to answer the first call on your life. Some of you are finding out that some of you sing, but you've been worried about money. You've been worried about money, but some of you sing. Some of you draw. Some of you can do graphic arts and designs, but you don't want to do that because that ain't what, God didn't call me to do that. But it will open the door for you to invest in the thing that you're called to do. I found out that some of you know how to sew, but you're not sewing because you want to wait till you get a contract to be a fashion designer. See, but when it's your gift, When it's your gift, you do it wherever you are. See, I was teaching everywhere. Just like I said, I was teaching my friends to the point that they got annoyed with me. It was time for me to stop teaching my friends. There was a bigger world for me. I was getting on their nerves. See, you get on people's nerves who don't deserve you, who don't value you. You get on people's nerves when you begin to show, when you just doing it in small settings. But when you start to show up, there's somebody waiting for your voice, your art, your herbs, your aromatherapy, and some of that's waiting on the patterns that you have to cut. There's somebody that's waiting on yours. You feel me? You feel me? I want to tell me if you're feeling me today, because I'm about to sweat. It's time for me to stop, because I didn't want this to be a long one today. One of the things I loved about Beyonce and with Destiny's Child, they were not big. But if you go back and look at the old tapes of where they were, whenever they would be in an interview, they just break out in song. And they would just start singing. And so now they don't have to wait on somebody to call them a singer, because they just sang wherever they are. And so some of you who've been frustrated and feeling overlooked is because you've been focused, just like I was, on somebody who wasn't looking at you. And then you get mad because the people that you focused on not focused on you. But a lot of times we haven't done the work of healing the unmet need. You got to be able to do your work. When you don't do your work, it will show up in the clients, in the marketplace, and then you wonder why you're frustrated. You go out here talking about you a coach, and if you want to, you will attract everybody to you who will show you your unmet needs. Ask me how I know. Well, first of all, I was trained to prepare for that. Come on. What is your gift? Why are you waiting? Why are you, what is it? What's the area of your growth? You wait until you get the money? Well, then do you get up and pray? Because see, don't tell me that you're waiting to get the money to invest in one of my programs, but you can't get up on any of the free calls on Sunday. And I used to say, is it inconvenient? Is it inconvenient for you to pray on Sunday mornings? Because really, when you start talking about being a goddess and a priestess, and you start talking about this magic and all of that, well, something is required of thee. Would you still say yes if I told you what was required of thee? Because sometimes you have got to pray in the gap. You hear what I'm saying? Some of us don't want to get in the gap. We're still waiting for somebody to get down in our gaps. But most people don't know where your gaps are, because you're hiding where the gap is. So you got to get up in the gap. The space between you and God is your lack of communication. The space between you and your manifestation is the things that you choke down, that you refuse to ask for help for. Do you hear what I'm saying? And so when you get up and you get ready to do your work, is your cup full? It's your cup full. Many of us still out here in the marketplace trying to do something from an empty cup. And I'm telling you, because I know that I know. How do I know? Somebody say, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? So it's time for us to shift. It's time. This is the time. This is the season for us to shift. You know, for many, many years, I entered into this marketplace before coaching became so commercial, before everybody saw it and said, I can do it. I'm just going to do it. I don't even like calling myself coach anymore, because I don't like doing what everybody else is doing. But even if I was doing it before, you hear what I'm saying? And by the time, this whole social media thing came or whatever, I'd been coaching and teaching and doing workshops and witnessing all kinds of things, transformations for years. And then I didn't realize, because I've been trained by healers and practitioners. And so those healers and those practitioners made sure that I had the skill level to do what it is that I say I do. Now, all people have to do is write a fancy sales page. And some of y'all love the people that lie to you. But I mean, that's just how marketing is. And so that can make you frustrated and wondering what am I doing wrong, looking and pulling for this and for that. And when I stopped, I had to get in the gap and be okay in the gap, the space between here and there, until I realized there is no there. There is only here, right now. How am I showing? Am I showing up now as a master coach? Am I showing up right here in this gap? And I'm not even there. Just because y'all seen the announcement on Fix My Life, my vision is still being birthed through me. Because I'm willing to get in the gap. I'm coachable, I'm teachable, and I'm trainable. You got to get in the gap. So I'm going to close out. That's more than enough. Dana, did I share all of the updates that were required for us to shift? The one that I have been delaying. And if you were on Sunday's call, you've heard in the last 2 weeks all of the goodness that has been flowing, shifting, manifesting, opening. And I know that everyone that is attached, and there are tribes where we're winning. A lot of us are winning because this is the season. This is the time. So, Dana, did I did? Okay, good. I'm complete. Okay. Am I complete, y'all? Dawn, Dana, I shared everything. Yeah? Okay, good. Now, the only thing I can offer is to stay tuned. Stay tuned because there are more that are coming, more shifts that are coming, and I'm excited about it. I hope that you all are too. And just remember that thoughts are things. Choose the good ones. And we're going to continue to rebirth together 360 degrees. There are some ways for you to be able to do that. For 24 hours, I'm offering, if there are any of you who would like to do a special assessment, I'm offering a special assessment just for Good Girls Gone Goddess for $97. Just for 24 hours between right now, this moment, and 2 o'clock tomorrow. Okay. Lord, I didn't realize that I had been talking that long on these updates, but this will be, will come in for very short moments of time, and we'll also be setting up some other ways for us to engage throughout days of the week. So this will not become a dormant group. This will not become this will continue. You'll continue to be fed, but it'll be in different ways. So I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you're interested in the special that I'm offering, and that will be the benefit of being connected, is to be able to have these opportunities, then just send me an inbox message. I love you. I'll see you on the other side. Ciao.